You know what it is? It's Friday Eve. But for this man to my right, Stephen A. Smith, it is just Thursday. Max Kellerman, this is First Take.
What's up?
Friday Eve is,
What's going on?
A great
Hello.
contribution to humanity.
We're into it. I try. I finally contributed to the show.
You say Friday Eve. I don't know why you be talking about that. That sounds to me like somebody that's accustomed to having weekends off, which ain't me. So there is no Friday Eve.
I'm never off either, sweetheart.
All right, well, then why you keep bringing up Friday Eve?
Hit you
Well, for what?
sweetheart.
You still, because I don't have to wake up as early. I'll give it to you that, okay? And you don't either.
That's not true.
Oh,
that's not
okay.
true.
Well,
That's absolutely false.
No one cares about our personal sleeping
There we
schedule.
go. They care about mine. They care about mine. But go ahead.
All right, not mine. Let's get into it. If Naptown was hoping to see King James in the flesh last night, they would, except it wouldn't be on the court. LeBron sat during the Cavs-Pacers game. Now, this was Cleveland's second game in a back-to-back. Friday, they play Detroit. So that's 3 games in 4 days. But after the Pistons games Friday, the Cavs have 4 days off until they face Portland Wednesday. So Cavs coach Ty Lue says the plan is to limit LeBron's minutes in January and February. Stephen A., are you okay with LeBron sitting on the back end of back-to-back games here when he has multiple days off coming up?
No, I'm not as technical as that.
Okay.
I have a problem with LeBron James sitting. I'm not paying attention to the back-to-back or anything like that. If you're healthy enough, if you could be out there cheering and what have you, and traveling with your team, you should be out there playing. It's not that he doesn't deserve rest. Anybody deserves rest is LeBron James. But here's the point that I want to get to. I have a problem with any player sitting out on the road and you're healthy. Sitting out on the road, and especially when you're going up against somebody in an opposing conference, Max, that's where I get rubbed the wrong way. To me, I understand you want to serve your home fans, but if you're going to sit out in an NBA season, you have 41 nights a year for them to catch you. Chances are, I know that even at home, there are people, I mean, everybody can't afford these games all the time, and that might be only one game that you go to, whatever, but you have a far better chance of seeing your star players if you take into account home games as opposed to road games. If you're playing somebody within the same conference, you're visiting them twice, 3 times a year at the most. If you're playing somebody in an opposing conference, you're visiting them 1 time. You can't miss those games when you're a megastar in this game. It's just something that you simply cannot do. I'm not going to get on LeBron James or Tyronn Lue. Listen, this is not them. Popovich did it for years. He still does it. We all understand it. This is nothing to insult or be upset about with LeBron James, who barely misses any games. I'm just one of those guys. I'm fixated on this reality. Road teams, when you go on the road, they rarely see you, and especially when it's the opposing conference. Those are games you should be, it can't be legislated, but those are games you should be doing everything in your power to make sure you play.
No problem with LeBron sitting down. And, the fans of the other team, to hell with them. You want LeBron James to even consider. So in Lou and LeBron's opinion, their chances are increased of winning a championship if LeBron rests a given day, right? Okay, that's their own equation, whether you agree with it or not. So you think that, in their opinion, they should at all in any way diminish their chance to win a championship to accommodate the ticket-buying fans of the other team? Who cares about them? This is called Popoviching when a coach does it. I think it should be called LeBroning when a player does it. Part of the way LeBron has been able to cope with his physical decline, which I believe he's been in the last couple of years. Of course, when you're coming from the highest peak, you're still physically better than everyone else, even on your way down the mountain. But the way he's been able to level that decline off and stay at the kind of altitude he's playing is by realizing he matured and realized the regular season's a marathon. Pace yourself. Take some days off. Do the right thing so that when the playoffs roll around, you got enough gas in your tank to get over the hump, which is what just happened. If anyone has the equity to do this, it's LeBron James. And in terms of the hometown fans, even if he misses games at home, that's on the road. So what? They're rooting for their team.
Right.
Even the hometown fans, make this deal with the hometown fans. Increase your chance to win a championship, but you know what? You bought a ticket and you didn't get to see LeBron live. They'd all take that deal.
Here's your nightmare. Your nightmare is the man sitting across from you who's been your friend for years, who's been your former compatriot at ESPN New York, who knows you quite well, Max Kellerman, and knows what a capitalist you are. So I just want to make sure, that's right, I just want to make sure I'm clear, because you're talking to the American public here. The American public is watching, Max Kellerman.
I'm a man of the people.
I know that the election is over and we all know you lost that debate. But the point that I'm trying to make to you, Max Kellerman, is this. I must ask this question.
Rigged.
Are you sitting before a nationally televised audience and looking into the camera and telling the American people that you don't give a damn about how they feel? You don't give a damn about them being the paying customer? It does not matter to you? Is that what you're saying? I just want to be clear.
Excuse me. I don't give a damn. It doesn't matter to me. How's that?
Wow.
Is that clear enough?
Wow. Okay, that's fine. Now let's get back to this. You know what? I'm an old school kind of guy. I think about a Michael Jordan. I think about the Magic Johnsons. I think about Bird before that back injury really kicked in. Stars, Isaiah Thomas included, and others, they actually had and felt a sincere, genuine, inherent obligation. Kobe was that way as well. They felt a sincere, inherent obligation to go out there and to give the fans what they wanted to see. In no way am I implying that LeBron hasn't done that. LeBron missed a grand total of like 16 games in 4 years during his years in Miami. The guy, I'm not questioning LeBron.
He entered Wednesday's game 6 in the league in playing time.
6 in the league in playing time, averaging 37 minutes a game. Listen, I'm not questioning him. We're using him to touch on a bigger picture, Max. And the bigger picture to me is this. All I'm saying is, if you're going to sit down, and I have no problem with sit down for rest and all of that stuff, I understand it, but can't you do it at home where you have 41 games a year as opposed? Listen, I forgot which guy it was, but I remember they were playing in Utah, and I forgot which team it was or whatever. You didn't play in Utah. You're an Eastern Conference team. They're not going to see you.
Yeah, but he cares more about the Cavs.
I want to address that.
That's what I'm saying. That's my biggest thing.
Let's take Michael Jordan out of this because he was a cyborg.
Well, what about Karl Malone? What about John
Malone
Stockton?
Also was fit, but most of the other stars of yesteryear were not playing. There is much more exertion in the NBA now, physically, than there used to be. Off-season training regimens, playing defense every night on every guy. You can even talk to the old-school coaches, Pat Riley, all those guys. And they'll tell you, back in the day, it's who were you going to guard that night? Today, it's you got to guard everybody. It's a more sophisticated, higher, faster-paced game.
Wait a minute.
One, two.
Hold on. Let me stay with that point. Let me stay with your point. Max Kellerman, whether it's boxing or anything else, you repeatedly and religiously defer to history. I am saying to you from an historical perspective, do you know of any star in history who sat down games and said, you know, I just needed to rest today?
LeBron is innovating in that case. Okay. And by the way,
this is a tough one.
Finally, you said, I just want to say this.
This really is a tough one.
You said that guys like Kobe never felt a sincere obligation to play for the fans. LeBron James feels a sincere obligation to win championships for the fans of the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's his obligation.
I understand and I appreciate that point. All I'm saying is, because you know you're going to be in the playoffs, that's even more additional games those local fans get to see you. The people on the road don't. My issue is the road. That's it.
I understand both arguments in this one. LeBron, though, trying to make his 7th straight trip to the finals. But we want you guys to get involved at home. Do you have a problem with LeBron sitting out versus the Pacers last night? We'll share those results and react a little bit later in the show. It doesn't get much bigger than LeBron James, but then there's his idol, the late, great Muhammad Ali. LeBron, an admirer of the boxing legend, both in and outside of the ring, jumped on the chance to support an exhibit honoring his life at the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. James Charitable Foundation and his business partner, Maverick Carter, are donating $2.5 million to the new exhibit. Stephen A., can LeBron ever be bigger than Muhammad Ali?
Never. I want to be very, very clear about that. Never, no way on earth. And that is in no way disrespectful to LeBron. And I want to make sure everybody understands that we're asking that question because we hear a lot of people bringing that question up. This is not to denigrate or insult LeBron in any way. LeBron is phenomenal, not just as a player, but in terms of his mission, his charities, you know, what the conscientious individual that he is, donating $2.5 million to this cause, you know, putting kids, guaranteeing scholarships to the University of Akron. You know, this guy is going to ultimately empower by educating thousands upon thousands of local youth. And Lord knows what he's doing nationally. So this guy is an iconic figure, and he deserves our respect and appreciation. But Muhammad Ali, civil rights era, what he meant to us as black people, and I know it's not just black people whose lives that he touched, but make no mistake about it, in our opinion, there's a lot of lives that he touched later. He touched us immediately. He basically reminded black people that we were special, that we were a great people, that we should not in any way accept being denigrated, that we deserve human and civil rights just like anybody else, that we are black, that we are beautiful, and we have a reason to be proud of ourselves. When you consider the history of this country and the way black folks have been affected by the insidious behavior on a part of America from an historical perspective, for him to do what he did for us, being a member of the Nation of Islam, speaking up the way that he did, taking on all comers, including the federal government, and ultimately winning this, and suffered through the process. A lot of times we talk about sacrifices folks need to make, but more often than not, Max, we find ourselves talking about the sacrifices folks need to make because they don't necessarily do things that are uncomfortable. Muhammad Ali, that can never be said about him. He's the greatest of all time.
LeBron James is doing great things, and he should be commended for it. And he's one of the great athletes in the history of this country. He will never be as big as Muhammad Ali, and he probably knows that.
He does.
Muhammad Ali is the greatest, not only because he was the greatest heavyweight who ever lived in the ring. Like, he had to do that. He actually had to go out and beat Sonny Liston and Joe Frazier and George Foreman and all those guys. In the greatest era ever for heavyweights, he actually had to beat all those guys. He had to be better than them, or he would not be remembered the way he is today. But in addition to that, he stood up for what he believed in. There was a scene in the Will Smith, the Michael Mann movie, The Greatest.
Ali?
The Ali movie. Or the Ali, I guess it's called.
Yep.
Where and this is based on something that happened. It's a true story. Ali is running in Zaire, in Kinshasa, Zaire, through the alley, and he comes across a mural of him crushing a warplane, as like a giant crushing a warplane, and he realized at that moment, this is bigger than him. He's affected the entire world. And so he had to beat George Foreman, who no one could beat. And he realized it's not just about him beating Foreman. He had to draw strength from all oppressed peoples all over the world because he was their champion. Now there's more media. Right. There's more media now. And so maybe LeBron James can make more different impressions in people's minds. But in terms of the space that an athlete occupies in people's minds around the world, it will never be close. Muhammad Ali was arguably the most famous man in the world, including like Nixon and the Pope back then. And based on what he represented, I can't imagine another athlete ever being as big as Ali.
Muhammad Ali knew he would be vilified, knew he would be ostracized, knew he would be hated, and knew just as much that his financial stability would be severely compromised. I don't know of too many athletes. I don't think I know of any athlete in this day and age who will do that. I even had somebody ignorant enough to tell me that Colin Kaepernick would do that. I said, do you mean the same Colin Kaepernick that's making $12 million and the same Colin Kaepernick that didn't want to go to Denver because they couldn't work out about $400,000 to $500,000 that he would lose out on if he went there? Yeah. You mean that Colin Kaepernick? Shut the hell up.
Muhammad Ali wasn't worried about his brand or personal gain. It was the cause and it was the people.
Let's stop that nonsense.
People understand even the impact it had when then Cassius Clay, after upsetting Sonny Liston, which is impossible to do, turns to the camera and says, I'm not Cassius Clay anymore. That's my slave name. My name is Muhammad Ali. Nowadays, an athlete changes whatever, no big deal. Back then, that alone sent shockwaves around the entire globe.
And as an aside, it's important to point this out. One of the reasons that Howard Cosell was so great was because he was the first to say, You're a grown man. You have the right to be called by whatever name you want.
Back then, if someone on TV
right.
stated the obvious, it made waves around the world because people were in a state of...
well, nobody else would do it before Cosell did it. Remember
like
that.
A butterfly, sting like a bee. I also want to mention that Michael Jordan donated $5 million, Magic Johnson and his wife $1 million, also to this new exhibit.
Of course, if LeBron donates 2.5, Jordan donated 5.
It is what it is.
Game up, LeBron.
Coming up, that bad man, Stephen A., he's salty right now and has nothing to do with his play on the field.
I think it's ridiculous. I think people don't understand how difficult it is to win in this league and win consistently. The success that we've had here, it's tough to do, and we've set the standard pretty high.
First Take is presented by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. And in part by Nissan, innovation that excites. And Sling TV. Watch 25+ live channels for just $20 a month.
Our next NBA Friday doubleheader on ESPN has the Warriors squaring off against the Celtics. That one is at 8 p.m. Eastern. And the Clippers and the Kings, they face off at Staples Center. Our coverage tips with the NBA Countdown crew at 7 Eastern. And we've got a Big Ten doubleheader for you Saturday on ESPN at noon Eastern. It's second-ranked Ohio State and East Lansing to take on Michigan State. Then at 3:30, the Hoosiers are in Ann Arbor to battle number 3 Michigan. That one at the Big House. And tonight, after Lamar Jackson and Louisville, Max, your boy, and Houston face off, tune into SportsCenter at night with Nicole Briscoe and Neil Everett. They'll have the Saints-Panthers highlight as well as everything else from a busy night in sports. SportsCenter at night after college football on ESPN. That bad man, he's been asked a lot recently about the Packers, why they've been, well, bad. Rodgers got defensive again yesterday, but this time it was scrutiny over his head coach, Mike McCarthy.
I think it's ridiculous. I think people don't understand how difficult it is to win in this league and win consistently. The success that we've had here, it's tough to do, and we've set the standard pretty high. But I wouldn't listen to some of those people out there. I mean, they're not in this locker room, they're not in the meeting rooms, they're not in the practice environments. They don't know what's going on. They don't know the type of work ethic that we have here and that Mike has here.
All right, so things obviously not going so hot for Rodgers and the Pack right now. And a handful of ESPN insiders graded his season so far, ranging from a C to a B. Max, what would you grade Rodgers' season so far?
Well, anyone who gives him a C or a B is wrong. It's an A-. Rodgers gets an A-. This is a very
A-?
straightforward. Yeah. You ever, hey, smart kids
I want
out
you
there,
as
you
my
know
teacher.
what I'm talking about. I used to sometimes hand in a paper in school, in elementary school, whatever, junior high school, and it would come back a B+. And I would think, come on, that's an A+ paper. well, yeah, great, versus your potential, I'm giving you a B. No, you don't do that. You grade it compared to everybody else in the class.
Okay.
And compared to everybody else in the class, Aaron Rodgers gets an A-. Compared to his own potential, look, it's Aaron Rodgers in his best season. 14-1 team record, as a starter. QBR of 86, 45 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Okay. That was when he was clearly and by far the best player in football, yes, including Tom Brady, who's the greatest quarterback ever. But at that moment, Aaron Rodgers, the best player in football. He is not that now. So if you want to grade him compared to that version of him, he gets a B+ or something like that. But if you want to grade him compared to everyone else, Stephen A., 22 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 1 game out of first place, a QBR of 72, which is the 6th best QBR in football. Now let's do this scientifically, shall we? A, B, C, D, F. There are 5 categories, okay, and 32 teams, therefore 32 starting quarterbacks. Roughly 6 in each category. So if you are in the top 6, you are in the low end of A. He is a low A quarterback this year. He can't play defense for them, too. Just can't do it. But he's not what he once was, but he is better than most. The only guys better than him this year are all in the MVP conversation. The A's and A+ so far this year. Matt Ryan, Dak Prescott on a per-game basis, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, those guys are ahead of him. Drew Brees, he's ahead of everybody else.
First of all, you're wrong. Secondly, I would give him a B. Thirdly, you're absolutely right about your point that you're not grading him against his potential, because that would be foolish. But you have every right to grade him against a resume he has already established. That's not potential. That's fact. That's what he has put forth before our very eyes for years and years and years. And by virtue of your sheer concession that he is not what he used to be, that automatically disqualifies him from any kind of A grade, plus, minus, or regular. It doesn't apply. Let's go to the B range. Let's call this what it is. Aaron Rodgers, and I keep getting on you. I can't believe with those eyes you don't use the eye test. You read numbers all the time, and I get that. I just cannot believe you still have not leaned on the eye test. I don't understand. I need these.
Are you falling in love with me or something? You're always gazing into my eyes.
I need these. You're one person. If you had glasses, something would be wrong. Something would be wrong with this world, okay? You don't need them. But listen, here's the deal. We have seen Aaron Rodgers miss passes. We've seen him overthrow. We've seen him underthrow. Whether it's to Jordy Nelson, it's to Randall Cobb, it's to Devontae Adams, or anybody else, we have seen this man miss throws he has customarily and religiously made for years and years and years. He doesn't appear to be the same. Does that mean he can't go back to being Aaron Rodgers? Of course he can go back to being Aaron Rodgers. We're just talking about what we've seen from him thus far. Last year, year and a half, he hasn't been himself. Last year, we credited it to Jordy Nelson. To a lesser degree, I think it's still Jordy Nelson, because Jordy Nelson, to me, hasn't returned to the Jordy Nelson we once knew and loved before the injury he sustained last year. Now, let's get to why Aaron Rodgers made the statement that he made in defense of Mike McCarthy, which I also think he's wrong about. If there is one thing that annoys me to the end, is when these guys want to bring up how y'all don't understand how hard we work and what work we put in. Damn it, you know that. You know this is about results. Grow up. You know this is about results. It's about what you do on Sundays and Mondays, or in this day and age, Thursdays. Whenever the hell you're playing your games. You're absolutely right. Aaron Rodgers is absolutely right about me and anybody else he wants to categorize in that fashion. We are not covering their practices. We are not there every day. We are not in film room. We don't say, I have no doubt that Mike McCarthy is working his butt off. I think he's a good coach. We're not saying that. What we're saying is the greatness of Aaron Rodgers seems to be being put to waste. Giving up 30 points for the fourth time in the first 9 games, that's your defense. That's not Aaron Rodgers. You're looking at how 71% of the times you're throwing the football, and mind you, it ain't just all about a deficit, because you're doing that before halftime as well. They're relying totally on Aaron Rodgers, but they're not getting it done. And I'm looking at Mike McCarthy.
They're 4-5.
Wait a minute.
They're one game out of first place.
Time out.
He doesn't play defense.
Wait a minute. Y'all are acting like somebody is saying, Mike McCarthy, you need to get fired. No. What folks are saying is, excuse me, this guy is one of the greatest ever. You are the head coach. Y'all have not been to the Super Bowl since 2010. It does not mean that you're supposed to get there every year, every other year, whatever. We're saying that the quarterback position is so important that if you can go 6 years without this dude, there are several coaches that some of us might look at and say, if they had Aaron Rodgers, it would be a different result. That's the price you pay.
The GM.
That's the price you pay when you have somebody that great. Why y'all acting like y'all don't know this?
That may be a GM issue, not a coach issue. But I want to get back to Aaron Rodgers, because the question is, what grade do you give him? And you fell right into it. You started comparing him to a standard of perfection.
I started comparing him to a standard he established.
Right.
He established.
Compared to his own standard.
I don't care who you are.
Compared to the other quarterbacks.
No, 4-5.
I have a right to do that. I have a right to do that. I have a right to look at Aaron Rodgers. And if you have a right to say that Tom Brady is going to fall off a cliff in 16, 14, 12 months from now, I have a right to sit there and look at Aaron Rodgers and say,
questioning your right to be wrong?
I'm saying, Aaron Rodgers, these are the standards you have set. Has age, attrition kicked in? Are you not what you used to be?
Compared to the best version of himself, he's something less than an A. But if the question is, what grade do you give Aaron Rodgers and all the other quarterbacks this year, that means you're comparing them to each other. A minus.
I can't give someone an A that's 4-5, third in their division.
No. I am not only that. I am not going to ignore the greatness not only that I saw from Aaron Rodgers throughout all of these years, but what I have come and grown to expect. The fact is that ain't what we're getting. And you're looking at the problems around him, and you're saying, McCarthy, guys,
by the way,
help
real
him
quick,
out.
This happens
help
in boxing sometimes. In boxing, one fighter's winning every round decisively. The other fighter starts to do better. So relative improvement gives the fighter the round. It's like if Stephen A. comes closer in a debate, people think he won the debate because I'm usually winning by such a wide margin. It's not fair to compare someone to themselves.
All I know is I wish you guys were my teachers because you're generous traders. Speaking of drugs, coming up after the break. Yeah. What does Stephen A. always say? Stay off the weed. Well, the day when NFL players don't have to follow that advice may be sooner than later, folks, according to USA Today's Jarrett Bell. Here's the quote. So voters in 7 states last week approved cannabis, either for recreational or medicinal use, and by extension, advanced the argument that the league's ban on it is like something out of the Stone Age. If the NFL wants to be progressive, it can make a strong commitment to funding some of the research being conducted to study the effects of marijuana usage. After all, in pledging to the long-term wellness of its players, benefits could improve the quality of lives. Max, is Jarrett Bell right?
You know, yes, he's absolutely right. This is absurd. And we just went through an election where there was a disinformation campaign that wound up successful. That's not okay. It's not okay that you just spread false information and that gets accepted as science in this case, and then we enact laws upon lies. There was a concerted effort to intentionally mislead people, lie to people about the effects of marijuana, which led in its continued prohibition after the prohibition of alcohol was lifted. This has been going on for the better part of 100 years now. That is the idea now that, like, for example, in the state of California, you can play for the Raiders, and it's legal. Marijuana is now recreational use, is legal as it should be in California, if alcohol is legal. And yet the NFL continues to say, we don't care. So now they can't hide behind, well, we're upholding the law. No, you're not. You're upholding your own rules. And those rules are based on the interpretation of the science. So either you're stupid enough not to understand the science when you see it, or you're willfully ignoring it and upholding a crazy, hypocritical double standard. If the standard is alcohol for the NFL, with whom they are in bed, they're in bed with alcohol companies. They peddle it during commercial breaks, okay? If they're sponsored by them, essentially. If you're in bed with the alcoholic beverage companies, you cannot also hold the position that you are testing for weed even if it's legal because it's somehow worse for you, and also say that you have a functioning brain. You cannot say all those things.
Before I get into my point, let me ask you a question, Max, do you believe that weed can make you high?
Yes.
Okay. You have seen people high off weed, have you not?
Yes.
Okay. I'm from Hollis, Queens, New York City. I'm from the streets of New York. Ain't no question I've seen people high. Hell, let me stop lying. You know what I'm saying? I got friends and family members that have no problem getting high. All right, let me...
What you're about to say is going to make me question you right now.
Well, I don't blame you for that, but I've always been a disciplined lad. Let's just say weed wasn't my vice. I had other vices, okay? Let's just leave it at that, okay? My point to you is this. Max Kellerman, the fact of the matter is this. There's a line here that I want to make sure. First of all, I want to make sure we're not talking alcohol. I get your point about that because it is hypocritical on the part of the NFL. I'm not disputing that. I also want to point out that in Jarrett Bell's great column, because he does a great job for USA Today, my man, keep doing your thing, baby. He has a line in here that says, but we're talking about medical marijuana with the key distinction that may make it plausible as a pain management alternative. It does not contain THC, the ingredient that gets a person high. So let me say, I'm excluding that. When I say stay off the weed, I am talking about dudes who want to use it for recreational purposes that don't mind showing up to work high. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about medical marijuana. I'm not talking about pain reduction and assisting in pain tolerance. I'm not talking about medicinal purposes. I'm not talking about all that, nor am I comparing it to alcohol. I'm not going there. I'm talking about the dudes who want to get high.
I like that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Here's where you make a jump here.
Wait. Here's the jump that I'm making. I am saying to you that obviously, because I know this is important to you, Mr. Scientist Spock Kellerman, I have no scientific evidence to back up what I'm about to say.
Clearly.
You can't tell me that 50% of the dudes don't want to just get high.
So what?
Because I'm saying that's a damn problem.
Why?
Because
this is the jump you're making.
You want to show, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's call it.
To be in an altered state through life.
Hold on. I am so sick of you with this issue. I want you to sit up here on national television and tell the world what you're saying. You're basically saying you have no problem with somebody showing up to work.
You won't let me say this point. That's my point. The jump you make is, I'm saying if it's legal in the state of California to use it recreationally, if the standard for a recreational drug is alcohol, then you must not test for weed if you don't test for alcohol. Now, you are jumping from there
I specifically said I understand that.
You are jumping from there to guys showing up to work high. You should not show up to work high. You should also not show up to work drunk. Why is it when you're okay or not okay or whatever it is, your position is with alcohol, you don't bring up, hey, if guys are showing up drunk, of course you shouldn't show up drunk or high to work.
Wait a minute. I have been on the record saying I support your position about the hypocrisy of it all in terms of alcohol.
But why do you get to showing up high to work?
We're talking about the issue of weed.
Right.
So I'm saying they ignore. I'm not. Stay with the weed.
I'll stay with
the weed.
My pleasure. If you show up to work high, you have a problem with weed. You can have a problem with prescription drugs, alcohol, weed, various vices or pain medication, etc.
But you know, Max, what's going to happen?
What?
The second you sit up there and permit, you trying to tell me brothers ain't going to be getting zooted and high, going to practice, showing up to a game on a Sunday?
The players who do.
When are you saying it's okay?
You trying to tell me that's not going to happen?
Recreational use for pain.
Yeah,
tell us,
sure,
like alcohol is?
Not at work. You shouldn't be.
But that's what I'm saying.
Chemically altered in that way with a psychotropic drug at work. I mean, but how does it follow from recreational use or pain
Stephen A. thinks it's going to open Pandora's box.
Here's the bottom line. I don't believe for 1 second, and this is where we may part ways. I don't believe for 1 second that these brothers, and I say brothers, I'm not talking about just black men. I'm talking about black, white, everybody, okay? Yeah. I'm saying these are dudes. Yeah. These dudes that can't stay off the weed, these dudes are doing it now when they got millions of dollars at stake and jeopardizing their livelihood to puff and pass. Excuse me, all of a sudden it's going to be legal and now you're going to discipline yourself? I don't believe it for 1 second.
You say don't go back
way.
You say don't go back to alcohol, but it's impossible to avoid when you make that argument. Alcohol is more addictive than marijuana. But that's not up for debate. So are guys showing up drunk? I guess the answer is yes, but you have no problem with that.
2 seconds ago, you just acknowledged that we weren't going to talk about the alcohol because there's no dispute there. I'm tired of you doing that. There's no dispute. I totally
argue against legalization of alcohol.
If we had an argument about alcohol, I would say the same thing you're saying. So why do you keep bringing that up? We're talking about weed.
Because my point is there is a standard set, and that standard should be met. And if the standard is alcohol, I have to use that as the standard.
You're talking about standards and science. I'm saying I don't disagree. I'm saying on a subject of weed, do not allow dudes to show up to work.
I agree. Hey, watch. Let me just be very clear. NFL players, you shouldn't be showing up to work high or drunk or anything like that. That's a bad idea.
But according to you, they have the right to do it because it's no big deal.
We have to
they shouldn't be touching
on their own time.
I wish we had more time. You both make great arguments, but we have to move on.
When we see Max comes in and
you show up to work on something. What is this nonsense that you're spewing?
Hot tea.
Okay.
Milk and honey.
Hot tea.
Milk and honey.
That's what they should test for.
Milk and honey.
Let's keep it moving, guys. Tom Brady and Carmelo Anthony took some time out of their busy lives to make fun of themselves. Check out these fresh new commercials. We'll get into it next.
Welcome back to First Take, presented by Bass Pro Shops.
We are less than a week away, First Take fam. Don't miss your chance to enter the First Take Your Take viewer contest. Debate Stephen A. and Max right here. Just upload a video to firsttakeyourtake.com with original sports debate, 1 minute long. We're going to select 2 winners on Wednesday. Get to work. Here's a few of our latest.
LeBron's associates being referred to by Phil Jackson as a posse. Does he need to be shamed and apologize? Negative. How are we not chalking this up to another classic Phil Jackson, Professor X-like approach to a Zen opponent manipulation while using the media's negative narrative to drive it?
First and foremost, how disrespectful for you as a coach, player, and as a general manager to talk about someone who personally you don't even know.
When we in the black community hear the word posse, we think of Sir Mix-a-Lot. My posse's on Broadway, posse up. But seriously, I definitely understand where LeBron was coming from, because this isn't the first time that he has referred to them as a posse.
I love him again. 2 days in a row.
I like it. The first one was negative. Negative?
He killed it.
Hilarious.
That's the best thing I've seen on TV in like a month.
That was
Those
hilarious.
were solid.
That was.
Solid.
That was hilarious. It was. I got to give it to him.
All right, less than a week away. Can't wait. You know what else was solid? This. Tom Brady, Carmelo Anthony with a little self-deprecating humor. Brady for Deflategate, Carmelo for having no rings. Check it out.
Week of Greatness brought it again for the 5th year.
How is it possible it keeps getting better even after all these years?
Kind of makes you wonder what Foot Locker is up to.
You know, that's an unfortunate mindset you got there.
Tom Brady.
Just because something's great year after year doesn't mean anything's going on. Why can't some things just be great?
Just a question.
It starts with questions, and then questions turn into assumptions, and then assumptions turn into vacations. So why would you punish the Week of Greatness for something that never even happened? I lost my appetite.
Foot Locker, nice. Mello? Yeah, the Week of Greatness is back for year 5. You been?
Not yet, but I'm planning on it.
You don't sound too urgent. The window for greatness closes fast.
I've experienced my fair share of greatness.
I mean, you're definitely really good, but greatness?
I'm a 9-time All-Star.
That's more of a popularity contest.
I won a national championship in college.
Come on, man, that doesn't really count.
I have 3 gold medals.
Against, like, Peru.
You guys spend a lot of time commenting on the internet?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Against, like, Peru. I like both of those. I want to start with you, Stephen A. Which one did you like more?
Obviously, I liked Brady more. I liked Brady more.
Why, obviously?
Well, I thought he did, first of all, I thought he did a great job.
Okay.
You know, showed some personality. Not only that, he was swearing up and down that, you know, basically it never happened. I should not have been suspended.
Unfortunate mindset.
I think he's sending that kind of message. It should have never happened. So I like that. And again, I mean, it wasn't Peyton Manning, but it was impressive enough. But the reason why I like Brady more, unfortunately, is because I didn't like the Carmelo commercial at all. I thought it was a good commercial. I thought it was a good job.
Oh, is this because of the Knicks?
Well,
is this because this is personal? Come on.
Well, first of all, it's personal for me because I got a lot of love.
I got him.
I got a lot of love for Carmelo Anthony. I really, really do. I mean, I'm dead serious. I'm not joking. I got a lot of love for Carmelo Anthony. I've known him for 13 years, at least. And he's never been in a conference finals. But one time with Denver, he's never been to an NBA finals. And I don't want to see no damn commercials about the Olympics. I don't want to see no damn commercial about the national championship.
Behind this commercial. Look at you.
I am.
You're getting all sensitive. I didn't know you were all worked
Y'all want to
up.
answer the question
Tony
for me?
Romo.
I'll shut up. I'll shut up. Y'all want to answer the question
You
for
are
me?
wrong. You've been wrong on every one today.
Sometimes we actually agree on some segments. Sensitive you just got.
Look, first of all, let me give you the review.
Go ahead, take it away. Take it away.
Number one, those were very well-written commercials.
Okay.
They were poorly executed.
Come on.
Sorry, they were written well, but ultimately you're not laughing at them. And if they were executed correctly, you'd actually laugh out loud. No, don't tell me that. Anyway, that's number one. Number two, Brady was the better performer. He performed his role better than Carmelo, who looked stiffer and less natural. However, Carmelo had the better commercial. Why? Because the conceit of Brady's commercial is, as you said, that he didn't do it. That's not as funny. That's not really poking fun at yourself. The conceit of Carmelo's commercial is that he hasn't been in a conference finals, that he hasn't won any championships, that the fans really are saying about him, maybe you're not great. And now he's going back at them saying, get a life, but It's going right to the heart of the issue, whereas Brady's is skirting the issue. It's not like the guys come into the diner talking about, yo, Brady deflated those footballs. They come in talking about something else, and Brady's obsessed with proving his innocence. That's presuming he's innocent. Carmelo is coming in with the assumption that the reality is people are questioning his greatness. That took more guts to make that commercial, and it's a better written commercial. Even though Brady performed his better, yes, Carmelo's a better commercial.
Y'all want to answer the question for me?
That's the answer.
No.
I'm not playing. I'm pretty ticked off. I don't like the fact that Carmelo Anthony, the great offensive talent that he is, his career is winding down. By the way, that's Carmelo's personality. If you talk to him, that's actually very much like him. He talks like that. He walks around, talks like that. Walks like that, everything. So I'm telling you, it wasn't a stretch for him that way. I am looking at a guy that is one of the great offensive talents we have ever seen in the NBA that has never played in an NBA Finals. And Foot Locker and them can make all the damn commercials about it, and I'm quite sure everybody going to have a good time with it. But you ain't no Knicks fan. Not if you got a problem. Not if you laughing about that. Because if you a Knicks fan, I promise you, if you polled Knicks fans, we ain't going to like that commercial. I'm a Knicks fan.
I didn't know you were going to take it here.
I'm a fan twofold. I'm a fan twofold. I am a Knicks fan, and I am a Carmelo Anthony fan. Not just as a player, but as a person. I know him. He's a good brother. I am disgusted at the Knicks situation.
Carmelo's not long-term for the Knicks.
Listen, I'm just saying. But
Porzingis' team should be already.
He's been there for 6 years already. I'm just telling you right now, he's been there for 6 years. I don't know when the hell he's going to get up out of there. But no matter what the situation is, the fact of the matter is this dude has not Carmelo Anthony, who can drop buckets on anybody. Even right now, you put him in the right situation. Give him the ball and he can close for you. If you got the parts around him, give him the ball, he can close. Carmelo Anthony may end his career never having been in that situation in the finals. And by the way, all he'll have to lean on is what the commercial says. I'm a three-time Olympic gold medalist. I'm a national champion at college. It's not funny to me. It's not funny to me.
Carmelo has not been on great teams.
I'm not blaming him. I'm just telling you it's not funny.
Carmelo has not been on teams with many great teammates. That is true. He has not been utilized properly throughout his career always. That is true, or to his best advantage based on what he's had around him. However, you and others keep pointing to his lack of success as an indictment of the organizations he's playing on, never accepting the idea that maybe he's just not as good as you think he is, which is what this commercial points out.
You guys went all Debbie Downer on this.
I don't feel that way about him as an offensive player. But what
as a scorer, right?
As a scorer. But what I will say to you is this, because there's been plenty of great scorers. You know, I covered one for 10 years. Somehow, think about it. Allen Iverson at 6 feet, 165, carried the Philadelphia 76ers
to an NBA Finals. Carmelo.
I understand that, but my point to you is this. I'm looking at it from the standpoint that if you are Carmelo Anthony, I'm a Knicks fan, man. It ain't funny to me. That's all I'm saying.
And Iverson played defense.
I'm not disagreeing with it. It's not funny to me. It's not pleasant.
You have 3 gold medals.
It's not pleasant. I don't give a damn about the gold medals. I don't care. Call me unpatriotic or whatever. For a basketball, if you're a swimmer, if you're a track star, if you're a gymnast, if you're a soccer player, if you're a track star or whatever, I understand the gold medal. I don't give a damn about a basketball player having the male basketball players, because the women is important to them too. I understand that. But NBA players getting a gold medal, I don't give a damn. I can care less about a gold medal. Hey, you can throw it in a Hudson River for all I care. I want a damn championship. I want a damn championship. And I'm tired of y'all joking about it. It's not funny.
No, if you want a championship,
I want to hear it.
You got to make it Porzingis' team and trade Melo.
I'm saying you got to be quiet, Max. I don't want to hear about Porzingis anymore, damn it. We're talking about Melo. It's not fun.
If you're a Knicks fan, you should want to hear about Porzingis.
It's not fun.
Listen, let's
and our producer Kevin behind the scenes he's laughing at us too. It's not funny.
Stephen A. and I were lucky enough to see Conor McGregor run New York Saturday at the Garden, but now is he ready to take on Floyd Mayweather next?
Never compare Conor McGregor to me. That's a total disrespect.
Well,
I mean, once again, I'm an elephant. Elephant don't beef with ants. You know, elephant is so large you don't even see ants.
I want the 100 million cash to fight him on the boxing rules because he's afraid of a real fight.
He's an elephant. Just what I was thinking. More trash talk between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Floyd saying Conor is an ant, while McGregor responding by saying he wants $100 million to fight Floyd because Floyd is scared to fight him. Meanwhile, boxing promoter Bob Arum said recently there's a 75% chance we see a rematch between Floyd and Manny Pacquiao. Max Kellerman, our boxing expert, the voice of boxing for 20 years. Please tell me, which fight would you rather see? McGregor versus Mayweather or Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch?
This, again, is a dilemma. Two bad options.
No!
At least that's what my
two
mouth
great
says.
Options.
My mouth says two bad options, and I would like to stump for that. But the reality is my wallet would say, if I were a fan and not in the industry, that if either event were to take place, of course, I would buy it. And that's why the economics drive it, and people's wallets really speak louder than their mouths. At least Pacquiao has a chance to win. Not a great one. Mayweather should win again, but at least he has a chance. Conor McGregor in a boxing ring has no chance to beat Floyd Mayweather. In fact, I don't think he has a chance to go the distance. Floyd Mayweather in an octagon, let me be very clear, has no chance to beat Conor McGregor. And he certainly wouldn't go the distance. Neither guy, because they're two different sports. The best Australian rules rugby, football team in the world is not going to beat the Patriots at football. Nor would the Patriots beat them at rugby. They're two different sports, even if they share some things in common. But Floyd's saying that an elephant doesn't see an ant, in boxing terms, he's right. It is an elephant to an ant in pure boxing terms. And McGregor's a talented striker. I know that. He sees him. He obviously sees him. He has to respond to him publicly. He wants to fight him. He believes that there might be $100 million in it for him. So he sees Conor McGregor. But Conor McGregor has no chance against Floyd in a boxing ring.
Well, we agree there. He has no shot against Floyd in a boxing ring. Floyd is a magician in the boxing ring. He would pick him apart. And his conditioning would be superior as well, because I've seen Conor McGregor appear tired at times. I just don't see how he'd have a chance. But just like Floyd wouldn't have a chance in the octagon, because Conor McGregor would take him out real quickly with something other than striking him, to be quite honest with you. Having said all of that, I will say this. Once upon a time, I thought this was just a disgrace to boxing. If Floyd, he owes it to boxing not to give this guy a chance. I've rethought that somewhat. Here's why. A, I saw James Toney get into the octagon. I've seen Brock Lesnar go from wrestling to get into the octagon. I've seen other folks try it at MMA. Why not try it at boxing if you think you're big time?
But the difference with James Toney is he was against Randy Couture. So his background's wrestling and Tony's is boxing. This is his staples boxing. So that's why I know you guys say there's no shot, but at least that's his bread and butter.
But here's my deal. What I say is this. I was at the UFC match Saturday. It was electrifying. Conor McGregor walking into the ring to 50s, I get money, run New York. I mean, it was big time. It was something special to behold. He walks into this ring. And when he connects, you fall. And so I know this much about Conor McGregor. No matter how much he talks about money, once he knows it's signed on the dotted line, he's coming to take you out. And I know for a fact this guy believes he could take Mayweather out if he catches him. I don't believe it would happen. I think that Floyd Mayweather would destroy him in a boxing ring. But the fact that this guy, you got to remember, they play bigger gloves in boxing as opposed to the gloves you're wearing in MMA, UFC. I'm just thinking that, you know what, would I pay to see it? Hell yes, I would. Hell yes,
you'd pay to see a short, dominant night by Mayweather if they were boxing, just like, as you said.
I think it would be dominant. I'm not sure how short it would be, but it would be dominant.
Here's why you actually may see the fight. I mean, I think the Pacquiao fight for Mayweather makes more sense. But here's why you may see it. McGregor right now is not even moving up out of his division and losing to a bigger guy. Has a guy, Nurmagomedov, who's on the undercard in his division, who's 24-0 in MMA. Hasn't lost and is totally dominant, though he was hurt by a strike early in the first round of the match on this last Saturday. So McGregor has chances. The point is, if Conor loses to Nurmagomedov, which I think most people in MMA would say, yeah, probably Nurmagomedov would be the favorite there. He's lost to a dude in MMA in his own division for a couple $1 million versus losing for $50 million to Mayweather, and it's not even in his sport. He could always go back to MMA. The risk-reward makes much more sense to fight a guy like Mayweather in boxing than Nurmagomedov in the octagon.
Well, I agree with you, yeah, but at the end, in closing, I just think that let's understand that some people in those respective positions would be talking just so they could get the money. I truly believe that Conor McGregor believes.
I think he does too, because he puts people to sleep.
He believes that if Mayweather hasn't been hit, if he gets hit by me, let's see what happens.
And he'll follow him all around the ring.
That's the whole point. If Mayweather is so much skilled. He's so underappreciated. He's
okay,
such a
real quick
magician.
though,
He would school him.
I want to be clear. So which one would you rather see?
Me personally.
First McGregor?
Me personally, I'm torn.
Okay, you?
Pacquiao is not a great choice, but Pacquiao at least has a chance to win. McGregor has no chance.
All day.
I'm just saying with the way, I mean, the theater behind it all. I mean, to see
after you saw
Floyd and McGregor
you
together, sitting there pumping the fight.
The promotion of the fight, McGregor and
you know what?
Floyd.
The fight would be Pacquiao Mayweather. The promotion of the fight would be
McGregor Mayweather all day.
Okay? Welcome back to First Take, presented by Bass Pro Shops.
All right, you know what it is by now, folks. The First Take Your Take contest. So send in a 1-minute video to firsttakeyourtake.com. We're less than a week away. 2 winners will come to Bristol to debate these two. Here's a few of our latest submissions.
All right, let's talk this Tony Romo press conference. First of all, why does Dak Prescott need your vote of approval? Why does he need you to come on a press conference to say you approve something that everybody already knew anyway? That he was more than deserving to be the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
I think that Tony Romo had that heart to heart that he knows that the Tony Romo era in Dallas is over. And to just know that the work you put over a decade is done. And it's a hard realization.
Sure, he could go to the Jets, where Max can hate on him as a Giants fan, and Stephen A., I know you only want him to go to the Broncos because you wouldn't want to wish the putrid ineptitude of the New York Jets onto Tony Romo because, by golly, he's your friend.
The last one lost major points by using the words "by golly."
But he did the "your friend," which is your line. I kind of like that.
I'm not interested. You got to have a little bit more flavor than "goodbye, golly."
Well, and that's the thing.
I mean, you got to be a bad Santa kind of dude. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to be that kind of dude. You can't just "by golly."
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me.
This is the thing. This is the thing. People think, okay, I got to have flavor and I got to have content. You can't split the difference. You can't be
both.
Content.
You got to have both.
Flavor.
You got to have both.
I want to see either a flavor, content, or both.
Listen, damn it, we played it, and there's no disrespect to them because they gave valiant effort and they deserve respect. But they are coming on before Billy Bob Thornton sits here.
Yeah.
I mean, how the hell are you gonna have less flavor than Bad Santa? I mean, that's
Bad Santa, one of the great movies of the last
Billy Bob Thornton's in another league.
That's right. Exactly. He's there in another league, but you're preceding him. Do something.
Your next gig, American Idol. Be the next Simon Cowell.
You know what?
You'd do
I have
very
been
well.
told that on many occasions. I have.
All right.
Just so you know.
We move on now. Get you caught up on the latest in college football. So, Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops announced Tuesday that star defensive tackle Charles Walker will leave the program to prepare for next year's NFL draft. Now, Walker, who's expected to be a high draft pick, hasn't played since he suffered a concussion early October. The decision did not sit well with Sooners defensive coordinator Mike Stoops. Here's the quote: "Quitting on your teammates is hard to take. You can't have guys coming and going and have a group of players committed to what they're doing day in and day out, putting all the time and energy into it. It's not fair to the players that are on our team if they're not committed to the team." Max, do you have a bigger problem with Walker's decision or Stoops here?
No problem with Walker's decision. Walker made the right decision. Is this a real question? Stoops, of course. Look, I was just talking to a friend of mine who lives in England now, actually, had his job relocated him, and was telling me that in London, if you try to explain college football, American college football to people, they can't wrap their heads around it. So wait, in other words, it's professional. No, it's not professional. But they pack stadiums? Yes. Are the people paying to get into the stadiums? Yes. And it's on commercial television? Yes. And they sell products and everything? Yes. But so it's professional. No, it's amateur because they're in college. Well, why do they have to go to college to play minor league football? Right. It's basically minor league football. You're forced. The system is set up in a way that you're essentially forced to play minor league football for free to enrich everyone but yourself. What about a college education? It's really not up to the student athlete. It's not up to the football player. They're by and large coerced. So to uphold some coerced social contract, the honor of that, Bob Stoops, who is not the head coach but makes $950,000 a year to coach that stuff, is to be the defensive coordinator, is telling one of his players on the defense, Mike Stoops, Bob Stoops, the head coach, $5.5 million for the head coach. The D coordinator, his brother, Mike Stoops, $950,000. Not the head coach, the D coordinator. And one of his defensive players, who has maybe a future in professional football, whose team is not going to go to a bowl game, and who has a concussion and wants to protect himself and his professional future forever and ever, maybe set up his life, is making the only real choice to make and is criticized by the guy making almost $1 million a year to coach the amateur players who are actually putting in the real hard work. It's outrageous.
I disagree with you. And I want to make sure that you understand why. Folks out there, maybe not you, you'll never get it. But in case of Walker, I disagree with him. And here's why. You didn't quit before the season. You quit during the season. You didn't decide that you wanted to go pro and quit in the off season. You're in the throes of a season where you're now 8-2, even though he's missed the last couple of games, and then you decide that you're going to leave the team. I don't believe it was right for Stoops to say what he said. First of all, leave that to the head coach. That ain't your job as a defensive coordinator to sit up there and speak out so adamantly against a kid. You could be a bit more sensitive. So I don't agree with how outspoken Stoops was, nor do I believe that he had the right to speak on it when your brother is the head coach. He's the head of that program. He is the one that should. Bob Stoops, I want to hear Bob Stoops. I don't want to hear from his brother. Okay, you're a defensive coordinator. Stay in your place. Having said all of that,
defensive player
Charles Walker, it doesn't matter.
Maybe he's using him as his mouthpiece.
You know, he
never
shouldn't.
know.
He shouldn't. The head coach should speak on this. But in the end, what it comes down to is that you knew the risk coming into the career that you chose. You knew the risk coming into the season, and to quit in the middle of all of this, to me, is not good.
But
Hold on,
there are
I'll let you
medical
speak, Max.
concerns.
I'll let you speak, Max. Well, if you got medical concerns, what you going to NFL for? Because those medical
Because
concerns.
you get paid.
Look, let me tell you what's going to happen now. If I'm an NFL team, I don't want them. You want me to tell you why I don't want them? Because you're that concerned. You're clearly coming here just so you could get paid. After you cut the check, your signing bonus, you might get another concussion week 1 and then you quit then. I don't know about that. So my point to you is that, again, you either a player or you not. I understand health concerns. I understand the concussion issues. I understand how serious it is. But if it's serious enough, then you shouldn't be playing.
It's serious enough to jeopardize money he has not yet made.
And I'm saying,
by the way, I said bowl game. I meant playoff.
And I'm telling you, if I'm an NFL team, I would be highly reluctant to give you the money because since you're so concerned about it now.
Because you haven't upheld the hypocrisy of the syndicate between college football and the NFL.
No, that's not why. Because if you're that concerned and that open about it, why should I take a risk on you when it's so easy for you to quit? There's a whole bunch of players on the collegiate level that get concussions, but they wouldn't dare publicize, I'm going to quit college right now in the middle of the season.
You know what I would think if I was an NFL?
Maybe he's got to risk it. He doesn't want to risk himself for his livelihood. Maybe he's got family to take care of.
Hold on.
Seems like a smart young man to me.
I'm not condemning the man's character. I'm talking about what comes with the game. There are risks that come with it.
We don't know his personal situation.
Well, then again, if you're an NFL team, I'm reluctant to take you then.
But you are paying him.
But because you're bringing those risks, those concerns to the table. I need you out there gung-ho ready to ball.
Right.
And I'm worried about you.
Football teams do ask players to make irrational decisions all the time. Sacrifice your health and your future health for the sake of a team. But in this case, you ain't getting paid. In the NFL, you're getting paid. So going in, you're making that exchange.
Quit in the middle of the season.
All right, coming up next, we have a guy that always brings it. A smooth cat, the star of Bad Santa 2, Billy Bob Thornton in the house. Yes, sir. Can't wait to talk to him. Stay tuned. Hello.
How's it going?
Always love going to the movies, but this time of the year, it's the best. Our next guest has been gracing the big screen for years. You've seen him in countless films. Let me name a couple. Armageddon, Monsters Ball. How about Friday Night Lights, just to name a few. Award-winning actor, writer, director. And now he's helping us get in the holiday spirit with Bad Santa 2. Billy Bob Thornton in the house. It's premiering next Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Right. How excited are you about this movie, man?
Very excited, actually. You know, most sequels come out like the next year or two, maybe. And this is 13 years. And I think in a lot of ways that helps us because, you know, it makes it seem like another movie rather than just capitalizing on the success of one right away. And also the kid's 21 now.
Yeah.
You know,
all grown up.
Same kid. And he was 8 years old when we did the first one. He's actually 23, but he plays 21 in the movie. And when we first met with the director for this one, I'd seen the kid a couple of times over the years. And we sat down for lunch, and I could see a little chest hair coming up over his collar, and it just creeped me out.
Bad Santa, by the way, for I guess it's been a long time already. Is one of the best movies, I think, in a couple of decades. That was such a great movie. A dark comedy that was also like a tear-jerker by the end. If whoever hasn't seen it should see that, I think, before they go out and see this. They got to go back and rent that or whatever they do on demand video now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Billy Bob, I know you're a big Colts fan. Max is a huge fan of Andrew Luck. And I know you said last year that you thought he could be the best quarterback in the NFL. You still have that faith with the team struggling a little this year?
It's hard being a Colt fan this year. But I mean, unless you're involved in something, like in movies, you know, it's like a lot of times they'll say about an actor, it's like, well, why did he do those 2 bad movies after he just did this great one? They don't realize that those movies were made before the great one, you know. So, I mean, I guess you could say Andrew Luck, you know, is going downhill a little bit, but then you got to look at the people around him, you know. I mean, he's got to have some people keep those linemen off of
Well, that's where I was going. That's where I was going. Do you find yourself, Billy Bob? You don't mind me calling you Billy Bob.
Please do.
I always want to say that. Billy Bob, do you find yourself looking at the Colts and saying, and Irsay, the owner, a Grigson, who for some reason can't get this man an offensive line to save his life, okay? I mean, do you find yourself nitpicking like, that guy needs to go or that guy needs to go? Or are you one of those kind of fans that's like, let's just all come together and get it done? What kind of fan are you?
I'm the kind who, I'll put it to you this way. As you know, I'm a big St. Louis Cardinal baseball fan.
Right.
And sometimes I can't even watch the other team bat. I'm so mad. I'm one of those fans.
Wow.
In other words, if we're down 2-0 in the 3rd inning, I'm only watching when the Cardinals are at the plate because I don't want to see this team score another run against them. And I cuss the TV. I'm one of those. So, yeah, I tell the owner what to do through the TV screen all the time. Absolutely.
Of course, in baseball, like when the other team is up, nothing good can happen for your team.
Absolutely.
In football, if the Colts had a real defense, maybe you could take the ball away. You got a pick 6 or something like that, but you haven't had a lot of reason to root for that this year either.
Not really. You know, I've been to 1 Super Bowl in my lifetime. When the Colts played the Bears in Miami.
It was raining. I was there.
Raining.
How is the weather with you?
Oh, it was crazy. I mean, it was warm and raining. And we were on a press tour for the Astronaut Farmer, and we got there, and we didn't realize we had a couple of days off in Miami. And when I realized we're in town when my team is playing, and of course Peyton was still on the team then. And so my publicist got us tickets. We were in the end zone. First play of the game, Hester runs the ball back, and in my mind, you know, in your perception of it, Hester's looking me right in the eye. Right. And he runs that ball back for a touchdown on the first play of the game, and I'm sitting in the end zone in the rain. I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Right.
Turns out John Travolta was at the game, and he was sitting up in a box. And here I am in the end zone.
Right.
And got him on the phone. I found out he was there. It's like, hey, man, where are you? You know. He said, I'm at the Super Bowl. Wow, me too. And ended up in the box, watched the rest of the game, won the game.
That move right there.
Oh, it was something else. But, yeah. But Andrew Luck, yeah, that kid's a good quarterback. But they do need to get some people. He needs a fence, you know.
Right. He's a great. I thought he was going to be the MVP this year.
Yes,
you like him more
By
than
the way,
Manny?
that ship has not yet sailed.
It has sailed.
No, it hasn't.
It has sailed.
No, it hasn't. They can win that division. That's a weak division. If they win the division, he throws for 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns.
MVP.
Brady has only played 12 games. Ryan comes back down to earth.
See why I always tell him he should be drug tested. See why I always tell him that? See why I always tell him that?
Well, I think for me, the way I look at stuff like that.
Your guy.
I would agree with you in the division, but then the way I look at things is, like right now in college football, you can look at those polls and Clemson and Michigan, Washington all lose. They're still all in the top 4.
Yep.
So, but I look at it like this. Nobody wants to play USC right now.
I got you.
Got it. Guys, that's about all the time we have for today. But Billy Bob, thank you for making a funny comedy for us that we can check out on Wednesday.
I'm going to see it.
We all need a good laugh right now.
For anything nowadays, I'll go see that.
Gotta go see it.
So good to see you. More First Take tomorrow. Have a great day.